It's time for another episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. People like me, Michelle Kane with Voice Matters, and my wonderful co host, Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. Hi, Karen. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Michelle. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. It has been, every month I seem to say it's been a month, but I know we've both talked about this. It just seems like, and I'm not sure what exactly it is. I don't think it's one set thing. But even though we love what we do, it just feels like it has been harder of late to cut through the noise, to get the attention of those whose attention we need, whether it's, journalists to cover things or eyeballs to read the things or people to show up to the events. It's just been a challenge lately. I don't know if you're finding that the same.
It's hard. Right now, this week, I have campaigns 3 and 4 of 5 that have all happened within the last 3 weeks. And I mean, full on media campaigns, and I mean, full on media relations. So this has been my life. And we've gotten great results, but they have not come easy by any stretch of the imagination. Me and our team, we have worked so hard. I personally feel like I've worked nonstop. And so I've seen a lot of threads from other PR people that have been so discouraged because things are not happening, emails are not going answered.
Right.
They're trying to just, they're giving it their all, and it's so bad that they're questioning if they're so good at their jobs.
Oh gosh, yes. Yes. And
yes, you are.
That's a thing.
It's just, it's a very different landscape. And I want to tell you that the lack of response, the overwhelm, the burnout is in no way and shape limited to our profession.
No, it's not.
I know, Michelle, you sent me a Slack message and you were saying, sorry for the delay on something. And just that day, I had seen this meme on one of the social media sites that said, adulting is a series of people, of exchanging emails saying, sorry for the delay, because it's we're overwhelmed, we're burdened.
Yeah, it's true. And it's not that for a lack of planning, it's just, especially in our line of work, you have to roll with the punches. You can plan your day, and then the day actually happens.
Yeah.
And there are things you have to put aside to attend to the other things. And
yeah.
But I think you're right. It's really disheartening to see. And my goodness, I know I go through this at least once a week of, am I still good at what I do?
Yeah.
And that can come even because, we've talked about this before, the prosumerism of our profession. There are many out there who think, well, I have a laptop and I have this and I have this tool and your job isn't hard. And okay. and there's a lot more to our profession than being able to create something shiny now and again. And that gets frustrating too. And you can't help but sometimes that will get to you and you think, oh my goodness, should I have just become a dentist? Like, is there nothing to what no, this is a talent and a profession.
And I have to say, I got to peek into some other people's job situations and actually hug someone that was crying at work over the weekend. And it sort of reminded me that there's something culturally that's much deeper going on.
Yes.
That is causing not only PR people to feel devalued and overworked and burned out and feeling like we're just pitching into the void or doing our jobs and no one cares and no one is helping us and supporting us. It's everybody.
Right.
We are collectively tired and overwhelmed.
True.
And I know some forces that have converged to cause this feeling, but what's really amazing to me is that how does everybody feel like suddenly the world just dumped on them? So everybody feels like they have much more work, not enough people, not enough support. and we're all trying to juggle and we're all trying to do the best that we can, but we can't. It's just too
Right.
much. And I don't know if our capacity for doing, that's part of it. Our
Right.
capacity for doing has changed, but then there are also fewer people everywhere in every job. We
Right.
just don't have enough of us to do any of the things.
No, that's true. That's true. And, when I go out in the world and I encounter people, even, especially like a restaurant or something, I just, I tell myself they're short staffed. Let's be understanding. It's like, hey, stuff might take longer. You might not have the thing I really like. That's okay. Because it's that fine line of, because then you think, well, should I not go to give you guys a break? Well, no, if we do that too often, then you're out of business. So I guess what I'm coming at is it's a time really to be supportive and to remember to extend that to ourselves, which is really hard to do. I know for me it's hard to do, and I'm more of the come on, get this done.
Yeah.
No, I do that to myself. I don't do that to other people. That's a whole other therapy session waiting to happen. But yeah, it just feels like we're all in this same. I like how they say we're not all in the same boat, but we're in the same storm, and it's a little different for everyone. But we are all starting to see these effects of
And I think it's getting, there's going to be a period where this is all going to feel even harder
yeah,
because of the economic turmoil that's happening.
yeah,
I don't have easy answers to this, but
no,
I do believe that it's important to, as we go into 2023, to think about what we're delivering and appropriately set expectations.
yes,
I took on a lot less this year because my capacity was not there. I went through a period of grieving and depression and just all kinds of things. And I just needed space. And what I have come to really embrace is not who I was 3 years ago before the whole pandemic, but who I am today, which is a
yeah,
very different person. You know, I can't do 100 things in a day. I just don't, I can't. And I think a lot of people are there. But I also can't do 100 things when I have to rely on 20 other people who aren't there or
right,
who are also have diminished capacity and can't help me to make those goals. So
right.
it's a readjusting of what we really can do for clients. And here's a good stat to kind of hold on to. I saw a study today from, God, I want to say it was Harris. Was it the Harris study? I will find that and we will drop it into the link. But basically, this PR study was showing that what companies really value the most, and this was interesting, is executive communications.
Oh,
And
how about it?
so thought leadership and all of those things. And so I think that we have to, spend some time before this year is out and look at all of the plans that we put in place and think about, will I be able to deliver on the things that I believe I will, that I've always done, or that, I know that I'm supposed to do, or that clients want to do, given the parameters of life right now. We have to really be present in this moment and start to shape things based on the now, not on
Right,
what they were 3 years ago, not on what we think they're going to be 3 years from now, but
right,
where are we today and what does that mean? And so that
yeah,
may mean, for example, that if media relations is in your wheelhouse, you may have to really start thinking about how to slice that peso pie a little bit differently. It may mean that you have to really dig deeper and focus way more on quality than quantity. It may mean that you might have to rethink your scope of work against what you're charging because everything has gone up for us too. And, you know,
yeah,
as restaurants have cut hours because they don't have enough staff to deliver, they've raised prices because it's more costly to do business. Not to attack the restaurant industry, but I think that this is really across the board. I mean,
yeah,
we're seeing it everywhere. We have to have a realistic picture of what it takes to do this job.
right.
I also think it's super important to have community.
Yes, that's key. Because so often, We get stuck in our heads and we think, oh my gosh, this person said that and that thing didn't stick. And now, oh my goodness, do I know what I'm doing? And we make so many decisions in a day and we process so much information and we keep track of so much minutia of the projects. Doesn't matter what kind of great app you use or project management tool you use, you're still grinding, I don't like to use the word grinding, but you're still processing so much that you might not remember, oh, wait, yeah, I was successful 3 years ago at this thing. And I do know what I'm doing. And oh, right, right. That's the reason why we chose that. Right. Okay. So I didn't, okay, good. I'm good. Or I really encourage you to touch base with each other. And honestly, this has even come up in some client meetings recently, where we've just had a regrouping session of, okay, let's do a check. Are these still our targets? Are these still our target markets? Are these still the tools you want to use? Or how about we try this? I think maybe we should experiment here and just see where that takes you. And it's been really great. I'm so fortunate that, you leave a meeting thinking, oh, okay, I am helpful to them. And it's not just, playtime at Michelle's laptop in her own little world and she's not doing
Yeah.
anything.
You brought up two really key things. One is be open and honest with your community. Find a
Yeah.
place that is safe
Yes.
that you can not only, say, oh my God, I am doubting my skill set, but a place where you can be supportive because this is equally important. Don't be that PR person that drops in question after question after question after question. Help me do this, answer this. Be the person that is a giver,
Yeah.
and not just a taker. But find a place where you can like say, okay, I'm struggling with this. Anybody have ideas? And
Right.
then be the person that's there when someone else needs that. We need
Yeah.
to tap into one another because as solos by nature, we're working, alone and we're in this
Yeah.
bubble. And so it's really easy to doubt yourself. And it's also really easy to get into that place where once doubt kind of creeps in, you don't trust yourself. You don't trust
Right.
your ideas and you start to, you question everything like,
Yeah.
well, clearly I don't know what I'm doing and I suck at this job and, I'm terrible. And you need other people to like
Yeah.
open, that perspective back up and to remind you that you do know what you're doing, that
Right.
things are harder. It's not you and it's just not you. And sometimes it's just to commiserate with other people, but also it's having that safe space where you can brainstorm ideas, where you
Yep.
can check your gut and think about things a little bit differently. And if you are not somebody that likes the big group, I will tell you that many of our solos have found personal, accountability partners and
Yep.
brainstorming partners in smaller, groups. They'll get together, they'll plan stuff on their own, they'll have a Zoom meeting and like, let's brainstorm on social media, let's do this, let's do that.
Right.
We all need other people. That's going to be your saving grace. But the other
Yeah.
thing that you said is have those conversations with clients. Let them know what is going on.
Yeah.
Don't bottle it all up inside and just think that you're going to just make it work. If you are going out to the media and you're doing outreach and things are not going as planned, you need to be able to communicate that back to your client. Listen, here's what's happening. Here's the climate today. Here are all the things that are calling their attention. Let's regroup on this and
Right.
talk about, revising the strategy. Take control because that's your job.
Right.
But how can clients support you and give you the tools that you need to succeed if you're not sharing with them the problems and the challenges? And I think that sometimes we're so accustomed to removing roadblocks that we're afraid to share them because we're afraid that, oh my God, if I can't do this, they're
Right.
going to fire me.
No.
I'm going to lose my job. What is my value? Well, you do have value, but everything is not going to go according to plan. And you have to open up and say to people, now, I would advise you to have some pivots ready, but have those open conversations. You will be surprised at how
Yes.
understanding your clients are. And here's the other thing, it's not all on us.
No. No.
PR is not this one man job. You are not a one man band or one woman band. Your client has a part in the success of their programs too. So you have to allow them to participate by equipping them with information.
Right. No, that's so true. And the clarity that can come from that, because, as you said earlier, we're all struggling to a certain degree. So, and it's not just within our industry. Everyone's trying to make everything happen. And, I mean, I've had clients say, "Oh my goodness, if we're not ready to grow," it's like, okay, fine, then we're going to maintain a consistent presence
Yeah.
of your thought leadership. That's fine. We don't have to be gangbusters, and breaking down, having clients come breaking down your doors. That's okay. And, the other thing you said of, we do get in these moments where we start to doubt ourselves, and, oh, that just, that just makes my heart ache that any of us would ever doubt our talent and our capability. And I know it happens and it's really demoralizing. So please reach out to someone if you're feeling that way, because they'll help. And it also happens easily because whether you work with a small team or not, you're not in a larger company where you're prone to get more "atta girl, great job." Even if it is the blowing smoke kind, you're like, yeah, 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 whatever. I know you're just saying that. But a lot of times, a lot of what we do goes without that affirmation that almost helps us check of, oof, I've got to rein this in, or oof, that didn't go okay. Well, oh, okay, that really worked. A lot of times we're absent that feedback, and that makes it difficult. And because I think we are problem solvers by nature, that sends us down the path of, ooh, there must be a problem to solve. Am I the problem? And oh, that's a scary little place to be heading. So
And this is very different than a traditional job, right? You said
yeah,
on something that really, I grappled with and didn't even realize that I was having an issue this year too, where, in a traditional job, you're rewarded, you're promoted,
right,
you're recruited, other companies are after you. So there's always this affirmation that you're good at this, you're sought after, people want what you have to offer. But as a solo, your title doesn't change. Your income definitely can change, but
right,
you're in charge of that because that's what
right,
you want it. But you don't get that same built in, like, oh, you don't. So it's easy to think like I took some of the things that I know for granted because there's nobody saying, "Oh my God, you are so good at this job." And
right.
you're right. It's easy to fall
Yeah,
into this false thinking that you're not continuing to ascend in your career. You are continuing to ascend in your career, but it's just different than the traditional work world because but you know what? Listen, listen, solos. If you need to give yourself a promotion and a raise, I encourage you to do that. Do whatever you need to do to make sure that you constantly remind yourself of the rock star professional that you are. And
that's
with that
right.
said, I might even give myself a new title just because. And I don't care if nobody else knows it but me. And I might give myself a raise and an extra like few days off because
That's right.
I
That's right. You can
love my job.
make yourself employee of the month. And
Yeah,
seriously, we do need to stop and take the time to celebrate our
me
wins,
too.
even just celebrate the fact that we run a business, and that is
Yeah.
amazing. And it takes a certain type of person to be able to pull that off. And don't let anybody tell you you don't know what you're doing, even if it's yourself.
If you have
So
kids, make them shareholders and then
there
give
you
them a
go.
return on their value. I mean, do whatever you need to do to reaffirm yourself on
Yeah,
a constant basis. I mean, seriously, and it's a great way to teach kids about the stock market with
yeah,
very little
it's
rest.
true.
Make them shareholders, have them,
That's true.
give you some money and invest in your company and then share results with them. At least I mean, me and my dog have deep conversations about work because I'm single. She's here. She's a good listener, obviously.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Just don't let your kids do a hostile takeover. That's
No,
all. Just don't
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 let
let
your
that
kids do a
happen.
hostile takeover. What we're saying is, don't forget that you are good at your jobs, and
Yes.
you know what? It's okay to have a little fun with this and be creative and how we find ways to re-energize ourselves and keep ourselves uplifted because
Yeah.
this job is hard.
Yeah.
It is a tough job.
It is. And I look back on my career so far, and I have to say, when I was in-house, both in nonprofit and in the agency, we laughed a lot. And
Yeah.
that's hard to make happen when you're on your own. I mean, we did silly stuff. When I say silly stuff, I worked in a brownstone that was an office in Society Hill in Philly. We would do the occasional conga line out the back door, in through the front,
Yes.
singing about sheet cake. Don't ask. Our art department made up these great, silly little songs. You just have to do these things. What did it take out of the day? 20 minutes?
Yes.
And it does help spur your creativity. So I don't know, even if it's pulling up a favorite stand-up comic, make sure you laugh throughout the day and reach out to each other. Really, we've got Solo PR Pro. There are other organizations where you can just connect with people who are, in this with us. And we really encourage you. And we hope this has been an encouraging time for you today with us here. And thank you for listening. And until next time, we'll see you around with That Solo Life.